Imagine someone handed you $10,000 right now. No strings attached, just $10,000. What do you think would happen? Most people say they'd save it, invest it, use it wisely. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For many people, that money would be gone within a year. Not because they're stupid, not because they're irresponsible, because they never fixed the habits that made them broke in the first place. And that's exactly what happened to Steve. The good news, you don't need a year to start changing your financial future. You need about 24 hours. This is Steve. Steve is a good person. He works hard, pays his bills, tries to make smart decisions. He's not buying yachts. He's not gambling away his paycheck. Yet somehow, his money never seems to stick around. Every month starts with optimism and ends with confusion. You probably know the feeling. You check your account and think, where did it all go? Steve asked himself that question so many times it became a monthly tradition. But one Saturday morning, something changed. Steve woke up and checked his banking app. Nothing unusual. Then he noticed something. Every financial problem he had wasn't caused by one giant mistake. It was caused by hundreds of tiny decisions. Tiny decisions that felt harmless. A coffee, a subscription, a convenience purchase, food delivery, another convenience purchase, and another. None of them seemed important. Together, they were controlling his life. That's when Steve realized something powerful. His money habits weren't happening once a month. They were happening every hour. So Steve created a challenge. For the next 24 hours, he wouldn't try to save money. He wouldn't make a budget. He wouldn't create a spreadsheet. Instead, he would simply observe himself, like a scientist. And what he discovered was shocking. Most of his spending wasn't planned. It was emotional. Around noon, Steve got bored. Without thinking, he opened Amazon. Not because he needed something, because he wanted stimulation. That's when he noticed a pattern. Every time he felt bored, he looked for something to buy. The purchase wasn't solving a problem. It was solving boredom. And here's the scary part. Millions of people do this every day. Steve started asking, am I buying this because I need it or because I'm bored? Half his impulse purchases disappeared immediately. By the way, if you've ever opened an app and somehow spent money without planning to, you're definitely not alone. This channel exists for people like Steve. And honestly, people like most of us. People who want simple money lessons without complicated financial jargon. So if that's your thing, consider subscribing. Now let's continue. Because Steve was about to discover something even bigger. Later that afternoon, Steve finished a long task. Immediately his brain suggested, you deserve a treat. Funny thing is, his brain suggested this several times a day. Finished work, reward, bad day, reward, stress, reward. Friday, reward, Monday, apparently also reward. Steve realized he had trained himself to spend money whenever he experienced any emotion. Good emotions, bad emotions, didn't matter. Everything became an excuse. So he created a new rule. Not every achievement deserves a purchase. Sometimes the reward can simply be knowing you did the thing. This one changed everything. Steve noticed how easy spending had become. One click, one tap, done. No thinking required, so he added friction. He removed saved credit cards, logged out of shopping apps, deleted a few shopping shortcuts. Suddenly, every purchase required effort. And something strange happened. When spending became slightly inconvenient, many purchases stopped feeling important. Because they never were. Whenever Steve wanted something, he asked one question. Will future Steve thank me for this? Not tomorrow. 6 months from now. A year from now. Future Steve probably wouldn't care about another random gadget, but future Steve would care about savings, skills, investments, options. This simple question completely changed how he viewed money, because suddenly spending wasn't about today, it was about tomorrow too. After 24 hours of observation, Steve found the real problem. It wasn't income, it wasn't inflation, it wasn't bad luck, it was unconscious behavior. Most financial mistakes happen on autopilot. People spend without noticing, subscribe without noticing, upgrade without noticing, buy without noticing. Steve wasn't controlling his money, his habits were. And that realization changed everything. Steve didn't transform overnight. He made small changes. He waited 24 hours before buying non-essential items. He tracked purchases without judging himself. He delayed impulse spending. He automated savings. And most importantly, he became aware. Because awareness comes before improvement. Always. You can't change what you don't notice. A few months later, Steve wasn't earning dramatically more money, but he had more money. Which sounds strange. Until you realize that earning more and keeping more are two different skills. Most people focus only on the first one. Steve finally learned the second, and that's when his finances started changing. People think financial success comes from huge decisions. Most of the time, it comes from tiny repeated behaviors. The sandwich you didn't need, the subscription you forgot about, the purchase you delayed, the impulse you resisted. Small choices, repeated hundreds of times. That's where the real difference comes from. So here's the challenge. For the next 24 hours, don't try to become rich. Don't try to build a perfect budget. Don't try to completely change your life. Just observe. Watch your habits. Notice your triggers. Pay attention to your decisions. You might be surprised by what you discover. Steve certainly was. And that single day became the beginning of everything that came after. If you enjoyed Steve's story, hit the like button and tell me in the comments. What's the money habit you're most trying to fix right now? I'd genuinely love to hear it. And if you want more simple money lessons, practical strategies, and relatable stories that actually apply to real life, subscribe and join us for the next episode. Because financial freedom usually doesn't start with more money. It starts with better habits.